Hello and welcome to my 8.3 Administer Fitness Tests. First, this is the client consultation profile. This is where I asked a few questions about what's wrong and gathered the information on my client. I then went through the test information with all the components of fitness and the tests which we'll be using and the protocol for these, so they understood the activities which they'll be partaking in. I also put to the side the requirements which they need. I then went through the informed consent and the PARQ. The informed consent was to make sure that they understood the whole process of the fitness test and that they would go through there and that they had the chance to leave whenever they wanted and that they understood everything I was saying to them. The PARQ was just see their health in the past, see if they had any injuries. Luckily he didn't, so we could go forward with all the physical activity. The risk assessment shows various risks which may be there and which can also be dealt with the controls put in place and the actions necessary. And there are many reasons why a test may be needed to stop. This could be faulty equipment which stops the test from actually going forward. Injury from the client, which means they'll be injured and they won't be able to continue with the activity. This could cause them pain. They're not confident enough. They may not have the confidence to actually go through with the task. And the participant doesn't want to continue anymore. This could be for various amount of reasons, such as stress from it, or just anxious about it and doesn't want, or they just don't like it. Fire alarm may go off, and there may not be enough time to actually go through with all the tests. Then we go through the test justification. This is why I'll be using these certain tests and why they're the best choice for my client to use. This is based on their sport and the sport that they play and everything around that. This is the test data collection sheet after the tests have been completed. As we can see, there are various scores which I've laid out here, and later on I'll be going through these with tables. For example, the 20-meter sprint with football. As we can see, my client, achieved a 4.58 average, and as he's a midfielder, this is just about perfect for him as he fits right into the category. Overall, we can see it's a strength, and overall we can see throughout the test that the speed ranges in my client, overall achieving a 4.58 second time sprint. This is very good and categorizing perfectly in the midfielder slot. My client also completed this run with a football which may have affected his time, but challenges him for more effectively, as it can be generalized to his sport better as he's playing football. This is a much better way to test him. To improve this, we are able to train anaerobically to raise ATP recruitment and also the glucose storage, meaning he'll be able to run hard for a long period of time and keep that speed at a decent pace. They will be able to produce a high amount of these throughout the training, anaerobic and resistance training, providing more anaerobic power. This will also be used through weighted training. So the frequency of this should be about 2 to 3 times a week with weight training such as squats, deadlifts, and all of the more body compound lifts. The intensity should be a high intensity train anaerobically, which produce more power, which will raise the speed which you'll be able to produce. And this should last about 1 hour per session, as it's not much longer needed as you're able to complete everything that you really need to do within that time period. For his sit and reach flexibility, we can see that he achieved a very good score. He was just in the super, so there's no need to improve on this. He was able to reach the super category and go beyond this with their final scores also. The other two scores show them in an excellent category, which means they can't go beyond this. However, the recommendation to keep this to prevent it from dropping, that my client attended a series of yoga classes to keep up with the flexibility. This will also improve their performance within their sport, as they'll be able to use a more range of motion at the joints, such as a kick. They'll be able to generate more power from the swing and the rotation of their leg. This should last, so to do yoga, this should last about 30 minutes per day, probably before bed or in the morning. And it shouldn't be intense at all, as it shouldn't be harming them whilst they're doing it. And the time should just be 30 minutes each day. We then move on to the press up test. This was done in 1 minute, and this tests their muscular endurance. So we can see that they got 19, which is average, just in the average range, and there is area for improvement. This could be improved on. As you can see, my client is nearly in below average category, with having a higher muscular endurance and performance in their given sport will continue to stay high for a longer period of time in this match, and they'll also use a high percentage of power each time. For a recommendation, this can be improved through training aerobically, such as long endurance running. This will improve on the muscular endurance of my client, therefore able to last longer during matches. So this could be through push-ups, which improves the muscular endurance and promotes upper body endurance. It should be light weights. To do this, you should be training light weights, multiple sets, such as 5 sets and 15 reps in each set. This will train the muscles to last longer. And this should be around 2 to 3 times a week in the gym and range from light weights to medium. And it shouldn't be very intense, just moderate intense as it's only light weights. And the time should only be 30 minutes, so not spending very long on this. We then move on to the agility. And we can see that there is an area for improvement, but my client did do this with football. Although my client's performance just below the normative data setting in the midfield, he performed it with football, therefore putting his football skills able to the test also, which is a variable to take into account. And to improve this, his speed, we can improve on his muscular power. This can be done through resistance running and training. This will recruit muscle fibers to improve on the power of my client. And we can also improve on his agility through ladder drills. These involve quick movements of the feet and multiple body parts to maneuver through the course. Yoga will also improve my client's balance, meaning they can turn and rotate much quicker, like they can be more agile with a higher balance. The yoga can then be combined with weights for a more challenging task for the various muscle groups. So this should only be done once or twice a week, and it should be high intense for the ladder work, so they're pushing themselves, but however for the yoga very low. And it should be about 1 hour each for each session. We then move on to the aerobic capacity, and we can see the clients here in red. Then these are the other scores on the normative data chart. So there's area of improvement here. We're able to see that my client will need to improve their aerobic capacity as they're within the below average category. This means we are able to create fitness plans to improve this. This means he'll be able to last longer during matches with his aerobic capacity also. So I recommend my client begins running aerobically and more often to recruit more alveoli to improve their aerobic capacity. This can be mixed with weight training or just normal. This will improve his cardiovascular, meaning he'll be able to run longer for longer periods without fatiguing as quickly. So this can also be applied to football with an interval running. This is where he'll be running lightly and jogging for a period of time and then short interval sprints. So it can be applied to football. So in football, there'll be long periods of just short jogging and then fast sprinting. Other activities such as cycling, jogging, and long distance activities will also help improve on this. And this should be about 3 to 4 times a week, as it wasn't a strong point for my client. The intensity should be low intense for the long distance, but then interval should be high intense, as it's recreating the sprinting in football. And this should be about 1.5 hours each week. And then we move on to the final, which is standing vertical jump, and this is on the power. As we can see, my client was very good. He got into the very good category with his score of 61 and an average of 59, which is just above average. And this is strength for my client, as he has reached the very good category on one of his attempts, and therefore no major improvements are needed. However, for a football, this might need to be improved on, as he's a midfielder. He'll need to be training this much harder to reach the higher balls. So from a corner, he'll have to jump higher to header it. And this can be improved on by taking part in weight training via the major leg muscles such as squats. And this can be improved on. This will improve on his power. So this will be weight training. This can include squats for 3 sets of 10 reps with heavy weights, it would be intense because of the heavy weight, and should last around 1 hour each session. and this will improve his performance within this sport, as he'll be able to reach higher balls and defend the balls from corners or header them into the goal, and also be able to outjump his opponents during this match. And that's the end. Thank you for listening.